Hey, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into something really profound, the subtle and, often unintentional habits a father has that can totally shape a child's personality, their confidence, and really their entire future.
The source material we're looking at really nails it with this metaphor. A father is supposed to be that foundational support, right? The one who provides security and strength, the pillar that a child builds their entire world around.
And this is where it gets tricky, because even with the best intentions in the world, certain behaviors can start to chip away at a child's self-esteem, leaving these invisible wounds that can last a lifetime. So how do those cracks even form? Well, that's what we're going to break down. We'll look at the unseen wounds, the emotional disconnect that can happen, the incredible power of a father's words, and of course, the example he sets. Then, we'll pull it all together to see how we can build a stronger foundation for the next generation. So, let's start with those unseen wounds. So many fathers sacrifice absolutely everything out of love, thinking they're building the best possible future. But sometimes, even when the intention is perfect, it's the behavior that leaves the deepest mark. And look, this isn't about pointing fingers or placing blame. It's about understanding that a child's heart responds to what you do, not just what you mean to do. And some actions, even well-meaning ones, can quietly do some real damage to their inner world. All right, let's get into our first two habits. Now, these are all about the huge difference between just being in the room and being truly connected with your child. So this first habit, it's a tricky one because it often comes from a place of trying to protect. The belief that to make a child tough and ready for the world, a father has to be strict, emotionally distant, so he hides his love behind this wall of sternness, thinking he's doing the right thing. But the result? It's just devastating. The child doesn't learn resilience, they learn fear. They grow up constantly questioning their own worth, always asking themselves, am I good enough to be loved? And that creates this emotional void that can follow them their whole life. Okay, this slide right here is so important. It highlights this crucial difference between physical and mental presence. A father can be in the same room, that's on the left, but if his attention is buried in his phone or the TV, the message he's sending his child is loud and clear. You're not as important as this screen. And that makes a child feel totally invisible. But on the right side, when he's mentally present, engaged, that child feels seen, heard, and incredibly valued. So what can you do? Well, the source offers a solution that's actually super simple, but so powerful. It's not about finding more hours in the day. It's about creating just a small, dedicated window of time and following these 3 steps.
And it all comes down to this. Just 10 minutes. 10 minutes of totally undivided, focused attention, where the phone is gone and you're just listening. That can be enough to completely rebuild a child's sense of self-worth and transform the relationship.
Okay, so presence is huge, but it's not the whole story. The words a father uses, man, they have the power to either build a child's inner world up or just demolish it. Let's dig into that next. Just let that sink in for a second. The words a father uses aren't temporary. They become permanent. They literally form the foundation of that little voice inside a child's head for the rest of their life. And here's the thing you've got to understand. Critical or abusive language, it's not just tough love. It's a poison. It makes a child feel worthless and teaches them to be afraid of trying new things. And even worse, it creates a pattern. A kid who hears this kind of language all the time often learns to speak it themselves, passing that same poison down to the next generation. Now, this next habit, it's a trap so many well-meaning fathers fall into, forcing their own unfulfilled dreams onto their kids. You can see the contrast right here. On one side, the child is pushed on a path that isn't their own. They might look successful on the outside, but inside they just feel hollow. But on the other side, a child who is encouraged to find their own way, they learn to be self-reliant, and they find real, genuine fulfillment. All right, let's talk about the final 2 habits. These are the ones that aren't taught through words or commands, but through the silent, incredibly powerful language of a father's everyday actions. This is so fundamental. Your kids are always watching. They learn way more from what you do than from what you say. So when a father insults their mother, he's teaching his child that disrespect is okay. When he lies, he teaches them honesty is optional. Real strength isn't about being perfect. It's about having the humility to say, I messed up, I'm sorry. Oh man, this one feels so common, doesn't it? That casual comparison that's supposed to motivate. A father might think he's just encouraging his kid to do better, but what the child actually hears is, you are not enough. Who you are right now is a disappointment. And the outcome? It's catastrophic for a child's self-esteem. They completely stop believing in themselves, and they start to resent the very people they're being compared to. They learn to see life as this big competition they can never ever win. And even their own successes feel empty because they're always being measured against somebody else. So after looking at all these really damaging habits, the big question is, where do we go from here? Let's bring it all together and focus on the path forward, on how to turn this awareness into real positive action.
So what's the game plan? It really comes down to making these 6 crucial shifts. Choose open affection instead of hiding your love. Choose to be truly present, not just in the room. Use words that build them up, not break them down. Let them follow their own dreams, not yours. Be the kind of role model they can actually look up to. And finally, celebrate their unique journey instead of always comparing it to someone else's.
And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway. This isn't just about one relationship. The way a father acts, the habits he models, they don't just affect his child. They create these ripples that go outwards, shaping the mindsets and behaviors of his children's children, and on and on. So we end with this question, and it's really a call for some personal reflection. Every action, every word, every moment you're present or absent is another brick being laid in a foundation. The question for every father, and really for all of us, is what kind of foundation are you building for the future?